Okay, last thing we're going to talk about surface area of cylinders. So on this one, we are going to use, we're going to take a look at this formula. I want to explain to you where this formula comes from, though. So when you talk about the surface area of a cylinder, you got to think about what do you have. So what you have, right, is you have a top and a bottom, right? And the top and the bottom are circles. And I know the area of one circle is pi r squared, right? But you have two of them. So you have 2 times pi r squared, which is just 2 pi r squared. So that's where this part of the formula comes from, right there. That's where that comes from. But let's figure out where this 2 pi r h comes from. Well, to do that, what you got to think about is I want you to think about what would happen if on this cylinder, right? And I'll draw it again. What would happen if I cut it that way and then I rolled it out? Well, if I rolled it out, what you're going to get, and I'm going to move this stuff here, what you're going to wind up getting is you're going to basically get a big rectangle, right? And this side of the rectangle right here is going to be this height. So that's your h. And then the length is going to be what you get. Think about cutting it and rolling out. It's going to be from here. Why does it do that? Here, and it's going to go around all the way, and it's going to be that whole thing. Well, that's your circumference, right? That's your 2 pi r. So the way you find the area of this piece is you just do 2 pi r times h, and then that's how they got to that. So that's where this comes from. All right, 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. So let's do this. All right, so for this one right here, let's start with the base, right? The bases. So with the bases, we've got the bases are each pi r squared, right? So you get pi, and r is 4.5, so it's 4.5 squared. So if I go here and I do 4.5 squared times pi is equal to 63.62. All right, so we'll say 63.62 is what I got, and then I have 2 of those, right? I have 2 of these. So I want to take this and I want to multiply this by 2, and if I do that, I get 4, 2, 1, 7, and then 12. Right? I get 127.24 for both bases. All right, so this is actually 1 base, and then 2 bases is that. All right, and then when you do the, I forget if they call this the lateral area, I believe is what they refer to this as. The part that wraps around is called the lateral area. So if we do that, the lateral area is 2 pi r h, which we figured out before. So 2 times pi, r is 4.5, and then your h is 12.5, right? So let's do a little simplifying before we jump over to the calculator. So 2 times 4.5 is 9. So we're going to have 9 times 12.5 times pi. All right, so let's figure that out. 9 times 12.5 equals that, times pi, 353.43. 353.43. 353.43. All right, and then you just add them up. So you do 353.43, and then we're going to add these, and I'll try to do this in another color so it's not quite so hard to see. So we get 7, 8, 6, 7, 6, Mr. Simons can't add, 10, carry your 1, that gives you 8, and then 4. So you wind up with a total of 480.67, and this is square inches because we're talking about area. All right, so you're finding your bases, right? Find your bases, and then you find your lateral area, and then you add it all up. All right, let's take a look at another problem. All right, a soup can. I love talking about soup. Soup can is 4 inches tall, right? So it's 4 inches tall and has a diameter oh, boy, that drives me nuts, and has a diameter of 3 1/4 inches, right? And I'll use the inch thing there. How much paper is needed for the label on the can? All right, so think about what they're asking you. They're not asking you to find the entire surface area of this. They're saying we want to just know the area of this. Well, that's the lateral area, right? And so for the lateral area, you just need to know that 2 pi r h. So you start with 2, and then you got pi. Radius is going to be half of 3.14. So if you take 3.25, okay, so we're going to take 3.25, and we're going to divide it by 2. We get 1.625, all right? So you get 1.625, and then h is 4. All right, let's simplify this a little bit. So we have 4 times 2 is 8. So you have 8 times 1.625, and then that whole mess times pi. So I think I have 1.625 already in here, so we'll just multiply that by 8. That's 13. Oh, that worked out nice. And then times pi, and you get 40.84. We would say you would need 40.84 square inches. And if you think about the fact that the soup can is 4 inches tall and the area is a little over 40 square inches, that means the length of the label, if you took it off, would be about 10 inches. And yeah, that's about right. That makes sense. Okay, so always check your answers that way. Think about them, talk through them to yourself, and say, does this make sense? Because if it doesn't, you probably did something wrong. All right, hope this helps, and we'll see you in the next one.